Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Guapish. As always, I'm your host Tanner, and today I'm joined by the craziest monkey in the jungle, Nico.
You know, things have really been heating up between good old Iran and Israel recently, and I just think it might help if we, maybe get a few more countries into the old two-state solution here, like bump it up to 4. Hell, why not make it like 16? The more the merrier, I say.
Fantastic. Also joining us, our resident bipolar schizophrenic, Jackson.
We literally have a resident bipolar schizophrenic. That's not me. This is bullshit.
And our, what's the opposite of resident? Our visiting bipolar schizophrenic, Dylan.
You take that back, you son of a bitch, Jackson. I'm so sorry. You're my best friend. You know that, right?
Classic. And this week, guys, some of you may remember that we did a social media IQ ranking where we definitively determined where the average user of every single social media falls on the IQ scale. Today, we're actually doing a social media insanity ranking where we are going to be ranking how insane every average user of social media platforms are, and then I will be using those two pieces of data to put together the social media IQ to insanity indexed, which I will present at some future date.
Okay.
Gotcha.
As you can see, our scale here is the classic Mr. Incredible deterioration meme. We got 10 tiers of different insanity here, and we got all of the same social medias from the last video, plus one extra one that wasn't really big back then.
But it's huge now.
Oh yeah, and I guess let's kick things off with that new addition, which would be Blue Sky.
Alright, so here's the thing about Blue Sky.
Uh-huh.
The libs are taking back Twitter is what Blue Sky is, and they're even zanier than they've ever been. I gotta say, they're pretty insane over there. Now, where exactly will they be? They're definitely not, like, way at the fucking bottom. They're not in the pits of Tartarus currently, but,
No.
you know, they're not, it's not like, I'm thinking like 4th from the bottom feels right for them.
I was gonna say 3rd from the bottom despite not knowing anything, so I'm glad I'm on, the right track.
I've used Blue Sky. I use Twitter currently. I'm saying like 3rd to the bottom, but pushing 2nd to the bottom.
Oh, there we go.
Interesting. Personally, I'm thinking like a tier 6 or so. I agree. They're pretty wacky over there. It sounds like collectively we're edging a bit higher though, so we'll put them here at a tier 7.
Hell yeah.
Those motherfuckers, it is like the biggest echo chamber of all time. It's actually insane. There's no discourse. It's like fucking baby's first social media. It's crazy.
Dude, there's power in numbers.
Funny. And then, just for context, where would we put Blue Sky on the IQ ranking so I know where to place it on the matrix?
Oh, at the furthest right, probably. They're geniuses over there.
Yeah, they're all brilliant.
Yeah.
Blue Sky is mainly artists, and we know that artists are kind of retarded. No offense, artists. I'm saying it's like, it's at like 80.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm, like, imagining the bell curve right, just, like, on the slope end of the left side of the bell curve, which is probably around 80, I'd imagine,
Yeah.
so...
I'd probably be a slightly more generous and say, like, a 90 or so.
I've just used Blue Sky too much, and also I use Twitter, and people talk mad shit about Blue Sky constantly on Twitter, and that's definitely influencing me.
As they should. So I'll probably be placing that one around 90 when I go and make that thing.
Jackson, they're literally in like a Naruto-Sasuke relationship, though. Of course they'd be talking mad shit about each other at all times.
No, they fucking aren't.
But they're gonna make out in the future. Nico,
yeah.
What one would you like to do next?
iFunny.
Damn it, I was
Okay.
gonna pick that one, you son of a bitch!
Just drop it to the bottom. All the way to the bottom.
All the way to the bottom.
Yes.
I think it depends on how old you are, because, like, most of the populace of this is, like, 14-year-olds, and then the other half is groomers, and, I think the 14-year-olds are fine. It's just some whatever social media site.
You think the 14-year-olds are fine?
I think it balances around like 5 for me.
Yeah. Wait, where's...
I'm gonna be honest, like, my perception of iFunny is just like, you know, it's like, what the hell?
That's mine too. Like, why does it even exist?
Why am I getting so much mustache in my mouth right now? My perception is it's just like a bunch of normie children, we'll say, just making terrible memes. So like I really don't see them as very insane at all, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying though, but like there's also so many fucking groomers because most of the audience is, people that are preying on these children. It is a rampant problem. That, and also I find it was much more popular like a decade ago. So there's a lot of people that got a lot of popularity on iFunny like a decade ago, but they don't want to give that up. So they're a bunch of like the bigger accounts are still around and they're fucking wackos for that.
That's fair enough. I'm probably drifting more to like a tier 5 then with that explanation.
As the resident iFunny user, I agree with Jackson. I don't currently use it, I just used to use it.
Fantastic. Jackson, what site would you like to do next?
Why the fuck is N Hentai still on this? Let's do that one.
Okay. Well, N Hentai was on the last one.
I think it was a social media
platform. I know, but like it's still
platform.
not a fucking social media site.
They have a comment section.
That doesn't matter.
They do. I would still argue that if you're using the comment feature on a porn site, you're too far gone. It'd go in the very bottom section just inherently. I think regularly you're like, it's like mid-tier just for like using the site in general because it is porn, but it's like, it's more niche porn, so you're a little crazy for that.
I agree with Frank 10. Tier 10, whatever.
I think I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I've rarely taken a glance down at the comment section on N-Hentai, and it's always just terrible.
Yeah.
I think I like reading the comment section when I know it's going to be some bullshit. Like, I sent that one Dojin before of, it was like the fucking dragon hunter chick or some shit that was getting, like, doped up on needles, and, like, the whole comment section was just about her getting blacked. It was the most racist, vile comment section I've ever seen on any post ever.
Jesus.
Insanity.
Very funny. Dylan, go ahead and pick the next social media site we're going to be ranking.
Dude, let's do Miiverse. That sounds funny.
Now, are you intrinsically insane if you're using Miiverse currently because it doesn't exist anymore?
Yes.
I would think so. This is at least a 9, right?
It's tough, because the thing is, I'm making it to correlate with the previous rankings, and Miiverse did still exist back then. So I think we kind of have to remove it from the context of time in our ranking here.
A social media site removed from time.
Here's the other, shtick of it, though. I didn't know Miiverse was... I think the extent of Miiverse that I knew existed was you could, draw shit and share it or whatever. Beyond that, I'm not entirely sure what you do on Miiverse. Do you still just leave, posts? Is it still legitimately just a social media thing?
Yeah, you still make posts and stuff. I will say, I do think it's, mid-tier at least, just because, it has much stricter, moderation rules on there, which just resulted in people being extra creative with making their friggin' degeneracy. So I think I'd probably put Miiverse on the same tier as iFunny.
I could agree with that. I was gonna say tier 4 personally, just because I think iFunny is worse based on my experience.
I definitely agree. I think tier 3 or tier 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that then.
There we go.
I'm gonna have us do. Let's do LinkedIn.
Okay. I think this is the most normal social media platform you could possibly have on this list, quite frankly.
You'd think that, but the people who are actively engaging on LinkedIn are just
they're out of their minds.
Yeah, they're not all there, Dylan, is the problem. They genuinely believe that this site will help them network and find jobs. How do they possibly believe that?
So tier 3 then? Is that too generous?
Yes, far too generous.
But it can't be lower than iFunny, right?
Yeah,
I would say so.
Really?
I would say so as well.
The
Okay.
people that like actually use LinkedIn as a social media site are fucking manic, and I will not be convinced otherwise. Like I'm thinking like it's pushing like between Blue Sky and hentai right now.
Oh, I was gonna say like one above Blue Sky, but if you're saying even between there, that's okay. I have zero experience with LinkedIn.
I'd even go below Blue Sky just because, like, most of these people have jobs, which just makes them seem even more insane by comparison. At least the people on Blue Sky, I can be like, they're unemployed.
No, that's the thing though, is that the people that are posting on LinkedIn are fucking jobless, bro.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess by your
Do
guys'
you agree
judgment.
with below Blue Sky, Nico?
Yes,
Aye, fantastic.
wholeheartedly.
Let's talk about Snapchat. Where do we want to put Snapchat?
I stopped using this so long ago. I have no perception of where this all I know, it seemed more normal. It seems like people just use it as a secondary texting service now. Am I crazy for saying that?
To some degree, that is what folks do use it for, kind of, but like, there are a lot of people who do still like try using it to like converse with others a whole lot. Like they have their fucking discovering feature where you can like post stories to like try and, you know, drum up some hype around yourself and shit, and it's just downright bizarre. I'm not a big fan of all that shit. Like, I don't know. It feels like there is also a lot of pedophiles on Snapchat, to be perfectly honest.
It just feels like there's like, I remember you guys discussing this last time. It was like hella ads and like also some just super cringe shit just on like that like discovery page or whatever the hell. So like, I don't know, maybe it to me at this point it kind of sounds like iFunny tier, maybe a little lower.
It's definitely lower than iFunny for sure.
Definitely lower? Okay, so I'm glad I'm
Yeah.
on the right track. But is it lower than Blue Sky? Because I don't...
I'd probably put it one above Blue Sky.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're talking about the people who are legitimately trying to use Snapchat as a social media, I think one above Blue Sky probably sounds about right to me.
Okay.
I'll agree. I'd say probably it's just like one above or one below fucking iFunny.
We're all
Okay,
roughly in the same ballpark.
Alright, Nico, you choose one.
Alright, next, let's go with, we already talked about Blue Sky, let's go for Twitter next.
Okay, so Twitter, I do have Twitter and X on here.
Yeah, I want Twitter.
Okay. Honestly, Twitter didn't seem that nutty to me. I might even be like a tier 2 on it.
I mean, that's valid. I used Twitter for a very brief moment. I, for whatever reason, just don't like the concept of just being able to infinitely scroll, like, the feed never ends. That has nothing to do with insanity. I feel like the people who post to Twitter, there's such a broad scope, so I was gonna say they're relatively normal, but I've seen some of the shit that Jackson sends me.
I just send you like fucking anime art. That's also from X. We're talking about like OG
Yeah, we're talking
Twitter
about
here.
Twitter.
They're the same thing to me.
Well, they're different on this list.
OG Twitter was such a different experience than X right now. Honestly, I would go as far to say it's like the most fucking non-insanity one. It was just like you post things and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like tier 1.
I'll say,
Okay.
yeah, I can get behind tier 2 at least.
What do you think, Nico?
Yeah, I don't know if I can completely co-sign Jackson on that one. Like, you post things and you're just fine. I don't know about that. The big thing about Twitter is that people are constantly trying to seek clout and just dog on everybody constantly for literally fucking anything so they can get a moment in the spotlight. And that was just a massive issue there. So it's basically like you're just like in a constant swarm of piranhas when you're on Twitter, just like second guessing everything you say to make sure there's no way people can spin it strangely. So I'd probably be tossing it like, it's probably an iFunny tier at minimum.
Interesting. Okay, I think that balances out to about tier 2, though.
Valid, I guess.
Do we... Yeah, actually, yeah, let's just do X right away. X... Oh, man.
I couldn't
That
tell ya.
is-
Sink it straight to hell, Tanner. Put it all the way down there.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it all the way at the bottom?
It is.
It's the same tier as N hentai? How's that even possible?
You haven't used it, Dylan. You don't understand.
I know. I don't use social media for very strategic reasons, and it sounds like it's a good.
I don't think I'd put it below Blue Sky. I think I'd put it like between iFunny and Snapchat.
I have zero input on this.
You don't understand, Jackson. You don't see the things I see on there.
I see a pretty normal spread, I would imagine, of posts. I mean, like, half of my shit's just art, and then the other half is, like, regular Twitter bullshit. I feel like it's relatively normal. I mean, it's certainly a lot worse than fucking Twitter. There's a lot more clout chasing with people trying to, like, farm engagement for money. People are a lot more crass. But I think everyone's just kind of having a fun time.
I mean, like, let's talk about the ads for just a second here. Since, like, all the big advertising companies left Twitter and now X, fuck, I'm just gonna keep calling it fucking Twitter. Fuck you. Ever since the big advertising companies left Twitter, now it's like you can just fucking buy ads for whatever that you want. And so you're just constantly seeing these, like, fucking crazy cults or, like, random people just, like, posting their dick and stuff like that onto it. It's very bizarre. You just see really unhinged things on there.
It's all part of the
What's wrong with your
algorithm.
algorithm, bro? Am I a 10? Actually, it's so tough. I've seen such insane nonsense. The big thing with X, I think, is that, like, because it's, sort of billed itself as the free speech platform now, like, people get fucking wild on there. They just let it fly.
Yeah, dude, like that one time when Kanye said he's gonna go DEFCON 5 on the Jews or something.
That's like a tweet Tanner would make now.
It does. It's very funny. Some of the, and like, I don't know, specifically I think of like some of the shit I've seen people say about Indians. It's just, it's insane. I don't think I'm all the way to a 10, but I'm probably at a 9. So Nico's saying 10, I'm saying 9, Jackson's saying I think this is 7. What do you think, Dylan?
Dude, I'll give it an 8.
Alright, we're gonna plop it into the same tier as Blue Sky, which seems apropos.
Yeah, that word.
They're just two sides of the same coin at the end of the day.
Truly.
Exactly. Dylan, what one do you want to do next?
Dude, which one of these don't I use? Let's go with...
I assume all of them?
I use some of them. Dude, what's that house one at the top there?
The house one is Next Door.
Oh, yeah, let's do that one.
Next Door might be a 10.
Is it this just like... I think we discussed this. This is basically an excuse for your neighbors to fucking spy on you and also fucking rat you out, isn't it?
Yeah.
The people that use Nexo are fucking psychopaths.
Let's go ahead and put it straight in 10 then.
I'm fine with that. Isn't it just HOA in an app? Isn't that basically what that is?
No, it's just a fucking way of finding people that like live near you, but the people on there are just so fucking manic and weird. It's so strange.
Didn't you guys...
it's a lot of... It's like subtle racism as well, People are like, there was a Latino with a backpack in the neighborhood. Does anyone know what's going on?
Oh.
And they do phrase it like that. Do you know what's going on?
I'm scared.
Sounds like a very white person thing to say.
I'm frightened. Could be a white Latino saying it, you don't know. Or an Asian, even.
Oh, man.
Jackson, what one do you want to do next?
Let's do fucking Instagram.
Okay.
This is like the normie social media now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I know there's some goofy stuff and like the thirst trappers can be a bit out there, but for the most part,
I think
it might be the most normie app I can think of.
Yeah, my algorithm's not fucked and I get some pretty normal shit, so I'd actually put that in tier 1 personally.
But also the comments are very vile on Instagram is the big thing.
True.
The comments are rough. My Instagram Reels algorithm, and it seems like this is pretty typical, is absolutely foul. Like, I just see people dying on the regular. Like,
oh my god, what is wrong with your Instagram feed?
Minor fender bender, and then it's like the most horrible car accident you've ever seen.
Jackson, I gotta show you my Instagram. Holy shit. We are living two different lives here.
I would put it in tier 2.
Tier 2? Okay.
It is super normie for the most part, but it definitely has its crazies.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think, Nico?
Yeah, I'd absolutely be going tier 2. That's way too high for it. I'd probably put on the same level as Miiverse.
I should show you guys my Instagram at some point. I just do not have I think the same can be said for all of these. I just do not have the same experience with.
I mean, most of my Instagram is just like cat videos, personally.
Very funny.
I think it balances out to about a tier 2 there then.
Probably.
Let's do... I am going to select... let's go ahead and do Threads. This is another dead one. This one...
This is a
I
fucking...
don't even know how to rank this one.
This is a Meta product, right?
Yeah, it was like Meta's attempt at replacing Twitter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if this one ever really took off much at all.
It really didn't. Like, people made their I'm leaving Twitter announcements, and then 2 weeks later they were back on Twitter.
Sounds about right. As per usual.
It sounds like it can't go far from...
I almost want to put it on tier 1 just because, like, no one spent any time on it, so there wasn't time for, like, any amount of crazy to really accumulate.
Yeah.
That'd be a very funny way of phrasing that. I'd be fine with that. It's a very interesting way to look at it.
You're fucking
Yeah, I would agree.
Why
It's
not?
pretty normal.
Okay.
Sounds good.
That was easy.
Nico, what one are you going to volunteer for us next?
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's hit up Discord.
There we go.
Discord is so tough because unlike a lot of these, it's not an algorithm where you can randomly be exposed to anyone. You have to, like, insert yourselves into situations. But man, some of those situations you can insert yourself into.
Yeah, I've definitely like I'm in a Discord for a Final Fantasy mod, and there is a safe for work portion and there's a not safe for work portion. But even the safe for work portion is still pretty questionable. So before when we had this discussion, I was not in that Discord. Now that I'm in that Discord and I'm exposed to that kind of community, I kind of understand. And I know there's worse out there is the thing.
Oh, yeah. There's like
golly.
RP Discord servers out there that I know get really wacky.
Oh, yeah. It's so... Because it's... I want to say it's 50-50, but I feel like the scale's probably tipped to just the insane portion.
Yeah, this one's hard.
I think I might be looking at a tier 5 on the same one as iFunny.
I'd be okay slapping it just right down the middle. Discord is really what you make of it.
Yeah.
I think between iFunny and Snapchat's fine. I don't think... Like, just because we're putting it there doesn't mean it is de facto that. It's just like, given all of our circumstances and our combined knowledge of what Discord is, that's just unfortunately where it lands.
I mean, none of these rankings are going to be, like, it's tough to extrapolate it out to what any given person's, like, individual experience is going to be.
Yeah, we can just generalize those experiences.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Dylan, give us another one.
Dude, let's do the one that most certainly none of us have ever used in the past, Pornhub. This just goes on the same tier as N-Hentai, right?
No.
What? Why not?
I just,
Ain't people on Pornhub kind of just memeing for the most part? Like, are any of them honestly attempting to use it for anything?
It's just like regular porn. It's not fucking you're looking at drawings of anime girls, which is definitely...
Yeah?
Yeah. I kind of want to just put it in normie, because, like, the people who are commenting, like, they are almost always just memeing, so it's like...
Yeah.
It's really not crazy to me.
I'll give you guys a 3, but I'm not gonna give you any more leeway than that.
Like, the absolute most communication you'll really get out of anyone on Pornhub is, what's this girl's name? And then someone tells them. That's it.
Yeah.
Regardless, tier 3 is the highest I'll go.
I don't know. It's just a very normie platform as far as any communication goes.
What tier are you thinking, Jackson?
I mean, if you're still using it as what we're going for here, it's still pretty fucking insane to be doing that. But also, you know, it is more normal. I'd put on, like, Snapchat here.
Okay.
She's putting it lower than I am. That's crazy.
That is very low.
I can do that?
If you're I'm still under the implication that, like, this is somebody using fucking Snapchat, or not Snapchat, Pornhub, as, like, a social media.
No.
Dude, if Jackson can put it that low, then I also want to put it that low.
Okay. What tier are you going then, Nico?
Probably like third.
I'd probably give it like a 2 or something, so that probably evens out.
Right next to iFunny. Don't put it next to Meverse. Don't put it next to Meverse.
I think next to iFunny
sure,
is
that's
the
fine.
funnier option, so we'll say that.
I think, yeah.
Jackson, what one do you want to do next?
Let's do fucking 4chan.
Okay. Is it a 10?
I would say yes, because like back in the day, 4chan actually used to have a bit of value, but it's not super popular nowadays. It's definitely lost a lot of people. And yeah, now it's just kind of like tranny porn and schizophrenics riffing on each other, and it's not a good combo, honestly.
I would agree with that.
That sounds good to me.
I remember Nico tried getting me into 4chan super bad, and then I never did, and then he told me I should get my brother into it, and I never did.
Yeah, you and your younger brother
never...
would really love Snapchat, or not Snapchat, 4chan.
I disagree.
I'm going to do the yin to 4chan's yang and say Reddit.
Okay.
Here we go. I mean, I shouldn't do this. I get a surprising amount of info from Reddit, but granted, that info is for things that don't matter, like video games or movies, or like I'm having problems with my computer. Like basic shit. This isn't where I'm like going to write a fucking research paper. But I am aware of the fact that there are some absolute insane Reddit topics, and I forget what do they call them? They're not threads. They're
subreddits.
Yeah, those. I know there's a ton of those that are just fucking crazy, so it's probably falling in the same, like, avenue as Discord, to be completely honest.
There's some cuckoos on Reddit, but to be honest, they're like a normal amount of crazy, I suppose. I think I'd probably put them tier 3.
Okay. I think I can agree with that.
What do you think, Nico?
Yeah, Redditors, like, they get a bad rap, and deservedly so. But, like, as far as insanity goes, like, yeah, you're gonna find some real bad actors, especially depending on what communities you decide to go into. Fucking, like 2X chromosomes, that place is kind of a cesspool. There are quite a few incel subreddits. But then, like, even, like, the Am I the Asshole and shit like that, most of those are just, like, creative writing exercises, and you can't really take what they're saying too seriously as far as, like, these people are actually crazy. So I'd probably put it around there too.
Okay.
What do you think, Jackson?
I agree.
Fantastic. We're gonna slap it right there then.
Here we go. We've successfully filled each tier.
Wow.
Holy cow. Nico, what one do you want to do next?
I want to do YouTube.
Okay. I think YouTube might be tier 1 for me. I don't think people are going that crazy on YouTube. Like, there's lots of creativity, but in terms of, like, actual insanity, I don't really see it all that much.
It's because YouTube is trying to babyfy itself, so they're kind of getting rid of anything that'll offend kids or something. So I guess in that regard, it could automatically default to tier 1, but just know that before this existed, that was not the case.
Okay. What do you think, Nico?
So YouTube is an interesting beast because there are some crazies on YouTube you can find too. Like, there are just so many lol cows everywhere, and I fucking love them. But yeah, I don't know. Because of how much more effort it really takes in order to really be seen on YouTube, you don't end up seeing, like, the darker side all that much. So it just doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a tier 1.
Yeah, I'd agree with everything you said there. Jackson, what do you think?
Yeah, this is definitely just the tier 1 thing for me. It's pretty benign for the most part.
Sounds good. I think it is just mostly because of how much content there is on there, the algorithm just isn't serving you up the truly deranged stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, what one do you want to do next?
Dude, let's do fucking Facebook.
Okay. Facebook is probably somewhere in the middle for me.
I would say it's towards, like, Meverse, because it still really is just kind of like a lot of boomers using it.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they're insane. I just think they're dumb.
Yeah, every once in a while when I check out Facebook, it's usually people just complaining about something, which, is kind of whatever. It's also just used as, a lot of the time it's for people to try to, organize events or invite people to shit, and, there's not usually a crazy amount of stuff, so I can agree with Miiverse and all that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really just older people or people who, haven't grown out of, high school or some shit like that, I guess. I just, we're trying to probably, rekindle any relationships from back then. We're, trying to fuck their middle school crush, that kind of thing.
That's a new one.
I thought you were about to say fuck their middle school teacher.
Also that.
I'm not gonna lie. No. Do I want to say that? I shouldn't say that. Never mind.
Did you have a hot middle school teacher, Dylan?
It didn't involve me. It involved a guy I knew and a teacher at the school I used to go to, but we're not going to get into that.
Holy smokes. Saving that one for the pre-guap next week.
Oh boy, that'll be fun.
Miiverse tier sounds about where it's going. I am going to go. Let's start doing some of these more obscure ones. Let's do Mastodon. As Jackson revealed last time, this one's a bunch of quants who are trying to be quirky or whatever. I assume they're relatively normal given what they are.
But also they've got a minor amount of insanity just for using some fucking random ass shit like this and not, something fucking normal. I would say it's Twitter, Instagram for me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I have zero input on this one, so I'll defer to Jackson on it.
I was going to put it at
Sounds
Reddit
good.
tier, so that sounds good to me.
I was also gonna go Reddit tier, but we'll give Jackson's opinion more weight.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan, what one do you want to do next?
Dude, Quora's been fucking staring me down. I don't know why.
This is actually QAnon right here.
Never mind. I don't know what the
top.
fuck I'm talking about.
One.
Yeah, one.
Quora. See, Quora is interesting because a lot of the people asking the questions are out of their fucking gourds, but the people answering the questions
They're taken
are
very
usually quite rational.
seriously.
Yeah.
So then you got to think of where does this balance out to? And this, that just sounds like another Reddit one, Now, there could still be more insane people, because obviously if you ask one question, there could be multiple answers. That doesn't, necessarily tell us that there's less insane people, but,
I'd probably go one above Reddit, so a tier 2.
Okay. I'd probably still stick to Reddit, personally, but...
Okay. What do you think, Jackson?
I don't know, man. Quora's fucking weird.
It really is. I get those in my Google searches, in an uncommonly large amount of times. I don't understand why. I fucking hate it every time, too.
Well, it's a lot of people's, go-to ask a question website.
I guess that's fair.
I think I'd probably agree with Reddit here.
Okay.
Yeah, that feels right.
Okay. Sounds good. Nico, what one do you want to do next?
Kick!
Which kick do you want to do?
The lime green one.
Okay. So Kick, the weird alternative to Twitch. Do I not have Twitch on here?
No.
Fool.
Did we have Twitch on the last one?
I think so.
Anyway, is Kick still running?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
okay.
still around.
It's still kicking.
They're kind of out of their minds over there, especially the people where there's a lot of streams on there where it's just harassing people in public, on live on a live stream. So I think I'd go a tier 9 for Kick.
I'd agree, just because I don't remember which one I think Jackson was saying Blue Sky is an echo chamber. Fucking any live stream service, whether it's YouTube Live or Twitch, is just another fucking echo chamber. And I think we did have Twitch on the last one, because I was like, oh, Twitch doesn't seem that bad. And you guys are like, no, these people share one single brain cell, and they use it to repeat the same phrase over and over and over again. There's absolutely zero value in this. So,
That sounds like something I would say.
I think there has to be a pretty decent level of insanity associated with these live streaming services. So I'd say at least tier 8. I can agree with tier 9 either way.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm going tier 10 personally. Kick is a cesspool. It's awful. Kick is basically made up of the people who were kicked out of Twitch. That's why it's called Kick. So, if Twitch wasn't accepting them, then God, just just God.
Given that description, I guess I'll agree with tier 10. I didn't think of it that way.
I would just put it like tier 9. It's still really bad. It's basically just a bunch of gambling addicts and crypto shills and shit, but...
Oh. Are the gambling addicts the ones who are in the comments, or are they the ones playing the games?
It's everyone. It's the people gambling, streaming, and then all the people watching because they're all addicts.
Gotcha. That makes sense, I guess. Dude, he's almost there.
Okay, sounds like we're gonna throw it... Do I want to go high or low? I'll go high. Why not? That's more fun. It's gonna go into 10.
Okay.
Yay.
And then since we were talking about it so much, why don't I go ahead and do Twitch, which we now have.
There we go.
There's a lot of goofiness that's going on Twitch, a lot of shenanigans. I don't know that it's that insane, I'd say, though.
It's kind of hard. Just because I don't use Twitch a crazy amount.
Yeah, the people on Twitch are dumb. I don't think they're insane, though. I wouldn't go quite that far.
I think I can...
I would put it in like tier 2 just because it's super normie. It's totally whatever, but also like you got to account for the people that like actually comment on shit. And for like small streamers, it's fine. But like, who the fuck's commenting on these like big streams? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Insane.
They just want attention. Yeah, I'll agree. I thought Twitch was pretty normal. I think I'm just trying to... I'm thinking of the IQ tier list, and for some reason I'm thinking this needs to correlate with that, and it doesn't necessarily.
Nah, it's better if it doesn't correlate, in fact.
That'd be...
Yeah, tier 2 sounds about right for me. Who the fuck? I think I lost my plate. Jackson, what one do you want to do next?
Let's do... I assume the K is kick. But like,
yeah,
not
that's the messaging app kick.
No, let's do the other kick. I talked a lot of game about kick last time we did this, but genuinely I'm pretty disconnected with what kick is nowadays. Like back in the day, it used to just be a grooming platform. Nowadays, I'm not entirely sure what it's used for. Presumably, if you're using it, given it's just a really niche social media site, it's gotta like at least be Snapchat tier for me.
It's mostly people like either scamming people or trying to hook up or doing both at the same time. There is like posting and like reels functions on it though, which are pretty mad.
Dude, I'd probably put it in Blue Sky.
Okay.
That feels pretty fair.
I think we'll put it there. I'd probably personally go Snapchat. Just because, like, it probably is a bit crazier technically than Snapchat, but it's such a smaller platform that it feels like less, you know?
True.
Well, that's fine. We can put it in tier, whatever that, 7. Wait.
Yeah.
9. 8. No. 8. Jesus Christ. Sandwich is fucking crawling all over me. It's causing me to not be able to think very good.
Smokes.
Let's do another messaging one. We're gonna do WeChat, the Chinese thingamabob.
Does anybody know anything about this?
No. Jackson, presumably you've used it more than any of us.
It's just like Chinese WhatsApp. Who cares? It's fucking one.
It's normal?
I assume is it like pretty heavily censored by the Chinese government, so they're not even really able to get that crazy on there?
Probably. I don't really know a ton about the censorship on it, to be completely honest. But yeah, it's literally just a Chinese messaging app. There isn't anything else. It's just you send messages, and like mostly it's a lot of stickers and shit.
Okay. We'll say 1 then. Nico, what one do you want to do next?
Yes, next I want to do Skype.
There we go.
People still using Skype.
Like, what's their deal?
What is their deal? I don't know that I'd even say
Wait,
they're
didn't
like crazy
Skype
for doing
recently
that.
get shut down?
I was about to say, I think they
did.
did. I do remember hearing that.
Yeah.
But we'll treat it at its peak or whatever. I mean, I think it's a tier 1, I guess. Skype was just the thing you used for video calls prior to friggin' Zoom.
Yeah, I think it's pretty normal. I don't think there's anything weird with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
probably.
sure, let's throw it there.
I should have put like Omegle or something on here.
There you go.
Or what's the chat roulette? Is that the porn one or is that the normal one?
No, that's Chatterbait.
Okay. I mean, Or so I've heard.
Or so I've heard.
I only know of fucking Chatterbait because of like the ranked competitive bullshit memes. Or like competitive gooning or some shit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wait, is that Chatterbait? I thought that was something else.
I don't fucking know. I thought it was Chatterbait. Maybe it's something different.
Who knows? Dylan, what one do you want to do next?
Dude, let's get the dumbness out of here and just do TikTok.
TikTok is,
It's pretty insane.
Personally, I think TikTok is pretty up there. I'd say my gut reaction is that TikTok is on, like, tier 8 with Blue Sky and X.
I was going to put it on tier 7, so we're pretty close.
Jackson, presumably you're going to go to bat for TikTok here.
It's so fucking, like, everyone uses TikTok. It isn't an incredibly normie platform. It's not that fucking bad. I mean, people using a site like that, you know, your fucking brain just melting out of your ears. And I know this because I used it for a while, and it, like, genuinely is incredibly addicting. So I think you have to be a bit insane to fall into that trap. But it is just so fucking normie. I'd honestly probably put it at, like, 4 or 3.
It is insanely censored now. I didn't take that into account. But, like, I still see things every once in a while where it's like a bad car accident, or it's like, look at these cops shooting this guy, and of course they never actually show it. But the comment section does seem pretty normal, and there's no more like naked people on it anymore, so there's also that. But also there's a lot of cringe humor, and like some of it's funny and some of it's not. And some of it's boomers trying to, you know, be hip with it, and it's also still just kind of cringe.
The thing that really comes to mind for me is there's so many people on there who have decided to make it their life's mission to show that there's no such thing as a straw man fallacy. Like, they just become the most insane caricatures of whatever position possible.
I do agree with that.
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Where do you think you want to put it then?
Man, I'm putting TikTok at like Discord tier probably.
Yeah, I think I'm going to
okay.
stick with my Snapchat tier, honestly.
I think it probably balances out about to Discord tier then.
I do agree with Jackson. There is a lot of normies on there, but the shit I've seen, there's some pretty insane things on there.
The things
it was
I've
worse
seen.
Before, and now it's not because censorship, but, you know, whatever.
Right. Jackson, what one do you want to do next?
Let's do Vine. And I'm immediately putting this one in, like, 2.
Yeah, this one's insanely benign. I would agree with 2. I'd even put it in 1, honestly.
The brain virus just didn't fully manifest yet at that point, you know?
True.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, I'll give it like a 3.
Okay.
Understandable.
I think it lands in 2 then.
2 is valid.
Okay. I'm gonna have us we'll do Rumble. What do we want to do with Rumble? Rumble...
10?
Rumble's a 10. I don't know about that.
Isn't it just a podcast site?
No, it's YouTube, but with like much less stringent content rules. Personally, I haven't seen all that much insane stuff on Rumble. It's mostly just people making right-wing podcasts.
You see, that's the problem with Rumble, is that there isn't much content on it, so it's tough to judge what you can really, how much insanity there can be.
The craziest thing I ever saw on Rumble was the Died Suddenly documentary.
But it's a documentary, so like how bad could that be?
True.
I'll give it a 3. I don't know if Nico's joking about the 10 or not, but I'm gonna personally give it a 3.
I do think it is about as wacky right-wing as Reddit is wacky left-wing, so I think a 3 actually makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to want to go and say fucking 10, so I'd probably go like 3. It seems reasonable.
Okay.
I'll drop it down to a 4.
Okay, buddy.
Sounds about right. I'd need to explore the non-political stuff to really know how crazy it is there. I do see on the front page that there are people playing video games on there, so I don't know how mad they are for that. Dylan, what one do you want to do next?
Let's go with probably the most normie social media that I think is on here and pick Pinterest.
Right.
This, I know this for, you get, like, decoration ideas, you get food recipes, you get clothing ideas or whatever the fuck. This is so normie. This is so number 1 tier for me. I don't know how this could possibly be anything else.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I can give it like a 1. I don't think it's too crazy at all.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Any social media site my mom uses regularly can't be that crazy.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Let's not assume things here.
Nico, what one do you want to do next?
Ooh, let's go with... how about that funny little rabbit at the bottom?
That's not one, unfortunately.
God damn it. Alright, Truth Social it is then.
Okay, Truth...
Tanner, would you like to make your defense for Truth Social?
I wasn't. I don't think it's quite a 10, but it is a 9.
Okay.
What is it? Some like super politically influenced social media site?
So Truth Social is Donald Trump's social media site that he is a part owner in. And I guess if I am going to give some defense, I don't think people legitimately use it at all, aside from Donald Trump. People just go on there to screenshot his messages and then repost them on Twitter.
I don't have a lot to go off of with that description. Dude, I'd probably give it, like, Snapchat, I guess? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going 10, baby. I'm maxing out at 10.
Okay. What about you, Jackson? What do you think?
1. I'm just kidding. I'm saying like fucking 5. It's like very middle of the road.
Okay. I think that might average out to like Blue Sky then.
Probably.
Fair enough. We stand with our president, man.
Oh yeah. All the way.
Alright, Jackson. Second to last choice. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do WhatsApp. Now I'm immediately putting it into 1 because it's a fucking messaging app and there's nothing normal or just... there's nothing crazy about it.
I'm going to put it at a 2 just because Europeans are inherently a little kooky.
I think I'm going to go with 1.
Yeah, I can give it a 2.
Okay.
Insane.
Fantastic. And then last but certainly not least, Tumblr.
10.
Tumblr.
10?
My thing is, like, I don't know that I would call them insane so much as, like, everyone is trying to be as quirky as possible all of the time.
Doesn't that sound a little insane to you?
Yeah, I'd still say it's probably in the middle, but I don't think it's a full-blown 10.
I like judging people more than you do. I'm giving it a 10.
That's fair enough. Jackson, what do you think of Tumblr?
These people are pretty fucking manic, but also they're kind of normal. I don't know. It feels kind of like a forum for like Discord people, so I'm going to put it on the same tier as Discord.
Okay. What about you, Dylan?
I have no choice but to agree because I only know of Tumblr because of third-party stories.
Yeah, from your sister, presumably.
Actually, no.
That's crazy.
Wait, which one? Never mind. Don't answer that question. I know which one.
Yeah, I think I agree with Discord tier as well.
There we go.
So we'll go ahead and do that. And, whoa, what the hell? Stop.
What the hell?
Put that down. What the hell? And there you folks have it. That is our social media insanity ranking.
There we go.
I guess, maybe tomorrow I'll bring us back in and we can make a small addendum reacting to the, IQ to crazy matrix I'm gonna make.
It'll be going, whoa! That's crazy!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys feel good? Does this look about right to you?
I think so.
Truth Social and Tumblr are both far too high for my liking.
Far too high.
Drop them down.
Given the fact that we put them there, I think they look pretty good.
I didn't put them there.
Yeah.
I think it's funny seeing Pornhub next to iFunny.
Yeah.
I agree. To be fair, very similar audience there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Anyway, there you go, guys. Maybe we cut to ourselves in the future here. Holy cow, thanks for that segue past Tanner. Hey guys, it's the next day. Here we are with the completed IQ to Insanity chart that I made for all of our social medias. Here it is in all its glory. What do you guys think of this?
Whoa!
Weighted in certain areas, I will say.
Nico just screamed really loud, but it did not get picked up.
Yeah, he said he was gonna do that. Why is it... Why are there so many... I thought we came to the conclusion that a lot of these were, in fact, not normal. Why are there so many down there in normal?
I just did anything that was 5 or below on the normal half.
I guess that's fair, because this was... what?
And
This
also,
was...
it's a spectrum still, so...
I was gonna say,
maybe
this
learn
was...
how to read a chart.
This was the IQ and the insanity put together, right?
Yeah.
I love Nextdoor just being up and completely manic and utterly retarded. Big fan.
Yeah.
I
was surprised that we had one in all of the extremes except for retarded but normal.
Can that exist? I feel like that is very unlikely.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to...
I think it can definitely exist.
Like, if you personally...
If I was going to go back in time and do the IQ chart again, maybe Facebook would be lower on that scale, because I feel like Facebook sticks out to me as well would be like you're retarded but pretty normal probably for using it, which sounds like some boomer shit.
So, like...
That sounds about right.
Tanner, if you personally had any sway in which one of these would go in that extreme, which one would you choose in that regard?
The most normal, but also the most retarded. Facebook does seem like the most viable option.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Makes the most
Skype
sense.
would kind of make sense too, just because, like, why the fuck are you using Skype when there's 1,000 better alternatives at this point?
True. That's fair as well. But yeah, we got... It's interesting seeing the patterns. The biggest cluster is obviously these ones that are just mostly normal and very average on intelligence. And then the most populated quadrant appears to be the manic retarded quadrant, which makes sense. Yeah,
I guess I'm not shocked by this. I'm kind of shocked at how centered TikTok is, but I think is that to its detriment, I guess, or does that just speak to...
No, it's because we put TikTok on the center of intelligence, and it was only like 1 up on the insanity.
That checks out, I guess. I like how 4chan is both manic and quant at the same time, and that just speaks psychopathic murderer vibes to me, personally. But,
It is where the smiley face game coordinates their activities.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that we put hentai higher on the IQ chart than Pornhub. That's pretty funny. But way more manic, so I think it checks out. It really is like both
It
extremes.
balances out, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what else? I guess YouTube is appropriately put in quant. That makes a little sense. I'm like trying to digest all of this at once. It's like a lot going on here.
I like it. I think this is fun data.
Well, there you go, guys. That's the chart. Let's go back to Pass Us as we probably say some stupid shit about movies. And maybe we cut to...
Guapish at the movies?
Guapish at the movies!
Who's that?
Jackson, feller, what did we watch this week?
The Patreon pick this week, as requested by Netagant, thank you for the request, was the 2004 film Hellboy. And if you also want to get your movie in our queue and watched and reviewed by us, go to guaps.com/Patreon or patreon.com/Guapish. $1 a month, get your movie in the queue and we'll watch it eventually, just like Netagant did. Tanner, please describe the plot of this movie for us.
Okay, so Hellboy is the story of Hellboy. He is a demon type thing who was summoned by Nazis, but then raised in the United States, and he becomes a paranormal investigator. One day he's investigating like a break-in at a museum and gets attacked by a strange creature. He discovers the creature is actually part of a resurrected Nazi plot to open a portal and bring forth some eldritch gods, and Hellboy stops them. The end. Fun fact. Jesus, this is a long fun fact. At their first meeting, Hellboy's creator, Mike Mignola, and the director of this film, Guillermo del Toro, decided to say their preferred actor for Hellboy at the same time, and they both said Ron Perlman.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Tanner, what do you rank this film?
Right now, I am sitting at a flat B.
Oh, not too bad. They should call this film Swell Boy, because I thought it was pretty swell. I'm at a B-.
I'm also at a flat B.
Huh. I'm at a C-.
Okay. Jesus.
Interesting. At least you want to kick us off and why you didn't like it so much?
Yeah, I didn't really like the puppets in this movie. It was, like, I don't know, because the costuming looked fine, the design of the Hellhound looked fine, but just, I guess in the action sequences, it didn't look great, and then also just the entire, like, intro, like, the CGI and everything in the beginning of it just didn't look great either. And also the CGI throughout the rest of it just didn't keep up. I thought the acting was okay. I like Hellboy as a character, but the movie felt insanely slow-paced to me. And I am very much comparing it to the second movie, which I realize I like substantially more. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was not super engaging for me, I guess.
Personally, I thought it was fine. I had a fun time with it. I liked how fragile the characters felt. Definitely felt that there was stakes with some of it. I think the actual costumes for Hellboy and the fucking fish guy was fine. Some of the CG was not super great. I think it's pretty whatever for 2004. Like, the enemies I don't think looked that bad. The fucking big tentacle guy didn't look that bad. For 2004, it was pretty acceptable for the time. I will agree, it definitely does feel a little slow. I feel like the pacing isn't super consistent throughout. Definitely has its pulls. But for the most part, I think it's a fun movie. I didn't dislike it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the puppetry, special effects, all of it's perfectly serviceable in this film. Fight scenes can definitely leave a bit to be desired. They're not particularly outstanding or anything like that, but it's a fine enough film. Like, it's not actively bad at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty entertaining. I really like Hellboy. I think Ron Perlman, as I pointed out in the fun fact, is the perfect choice for this character.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Abe Sapien. I think he's a fun character as well. And it's mostly just a pretty normal thing. Personally, I like the practical effects. I thought those were good and helped me actually want to pay attention to what was going on. I like the style of this movie overall. In terms of, like, it's they gave it a very noir style. Like, everything's taking place at night and there's, like, dim lights everywhere and all that kind of stuff. My only major complaint is, like, the CGI, which does look dated, but aside from that, like, I think it's a perfectly serviceable and fun film.
Dude, why do you have to smack the girl at the end for her to do her fire powers? Wasn't the emotional distress of Hellboy getting mangled by those hellhounds enough for her to ignite?
No.
I guess not. I don't know. I am actively looking at my list, and I'm like, well, I am looking at some of these movies, and I'm like, well, I certainly would much rather watch this over The Blob, and I put this higher, so I'm gonna keep going. But, like, I think a big problem is I was very heavily comparing this to the second movie, and I don't know if I think this might be one of those movies I never watched all the way through, because there were just bits and pieces I do not remember, but I do definitely remember watching the second one multiple times. But yeah, I just don't remember the practical effects and the special effects and all that. They were okay. I think I might have just been too harsh. I think I let my negative brain, like, take hold of reviewing this movie. And I think I let that dictate kind of just the overall. I do generally like the style of the movie. I do agree with that. I like Hellboy as a concept. I think he's a very cool character. And I think the way he handles situations is very well, and there's nothing like, there's no rabbit pulled out of the hat in any of these scenarios. It's pretty, it's figured out pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait for us to review the second one and we think it's just absolute trash.
That would be so much. I do genuinely think the second movie is so much better than this one. Like, honestly,
I'm gonna look up if it's also directed by Guillermo del Toro, and if it's not, you're almost certainly wrong.
I guess so, dude. Or me, I don't know. It's been a minute. I also just don't know anything about the aspect of the movie, but
it is still Guillermo del Toro, so who knows? Maybe you're right, and it is much better.
I do genuinely think it will be. So I'm excited for. I honestly thought I picked this movie for this week, and then I forgot a lot of facts about the movies this week, but, whatever.
Overall, unfortunately, not a whole lot to say. It's a pretty normal movie.
Dude, second fun fact, Ron Perlman was even more perfect than everyone already thought, because they were thinking they might have to change which hand was, the right hand of Doom.
Yeah.
But it turns out Ron Perlman is left-handed anyway.
Yay.
That's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah.
Glad it worked out for him.
Yeah. Tanner, did you end up reading any of the graphic novels for this?
I read the 2 runs of the graphic novel that most directly correlate to the movie, and they're all right, I guess.
Okay.
I wasn't super into them, and they basically took 2 different storylines and just kind of hodgepodge them together into one plot for the movie, and so it's tough to really analyze it in that way, because as comics are pretty disconnected from each other, but then all these elements are combined for the movie,
Fascinating.
I do think some of the fight scenes are fun. I also do like the main. I think it's kind of a little sucky that some of the main threats are just like the same fucking creature over and over and over again. But I do like that they actually do feel like they have they are a threat. It's not like everything just gets fucking trounced, which is nice.
Yeah, it's like something that we see Hellboy have a hard time dealing with just one of them, and we see how many fucking eggs they've created so quickly.
Yeah, it definitely makes you feel like there's stakes, which I do appreciate. And I do think it was very funny, like the fucking, I mentioned it was like the flying crane, crouching tiger, whatever the fuck the name of that movie was, effects where like people get punched and they just go flying and it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I thought those were lots of scenes like that, and I thought they were all funny. I also do think some of the comedy worked. It is a silly little movie, but it's nothing crazy to write home about.
Lots of Hellboy's just blank stares were very funny, reacting to someone saying something fucking stupid. I also liked Hellboy's big gun. That was fun.
Oh yeah, gotta love it. Always gotta love it with the old reliable.
Well, fellas, is that all we've got for Hellboy?
I think it is.
Yay! I'm sticking my B-.
I'm sticking at my B.
Sticking at my B.
I was being a little too harsh, and after reviewing some of the movies, and if I'd want to watch this movie over some of these other ones, I came to the conclusion that I'll just give it a B-.
Whoa.
And it lands at a B. How exciting.
Yay.
Very exciting, in fact.
Whoa.
Speaking of exciting, we've got my pick this week, which of course was the 2009 film Redline, not to be confused with the 2007 film Redline, whatever fucking year that one came out, I don't know. This one is the story about JP. He was a previous match fixer in the Redline, or just these galactic races in general, and he is attempting to win this year's Redline, and hilarity ensues.
Fun fact, so this movie took 7 years to make. It does not use any CGI, and it has over 100,000 hand-drawn images to make it.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Did it bankrupt the studio?
No, the studio was Madhouse.
Yeah. This was
For
just
what fucking movie am I thinking of then?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. This was just the last really big kind of anime of its time, we just don't see any big ass hand-drawn films like this anymore, because it took so long to make and it just didn't do particularly well at the box office.
Yeah, this to me very much felt to me like the studio was we want to make a fuck, I had the perfect word for it before and now I lost it.
Magnum opus.
Yeah, similar to Magnum Opus. It's just this is the crowning achievement of what our studio is capable of making at full power,
Yeah. Speaking of which, Dylan, what'd you rank it?
I gave it an A, personally.
Wow. I'm rocking an S- on this one.
I kind of thought you'd
Dude.
like this movie.
I'm also rocking an S-.
I'm a fucking hater, apparently. I gave this an A-.
You would. I mean, my S- is 99% due to the fact that this is the most visually impressive film we have ever seen, and I have no idea what we would have to see to surpass this.
Just you wait until we see Dragon Ball Super Superhero, man. That one's gonna blow your mind.
Did we? Oh yeah, I forget we didn't actually watch that for the podcast. The three of us just decided to watch it that one night. Very funny.
Yeah. But yeah, like Tanner said, this shit is fucking fire. Big fan of the animation. It really has a great way of selling the speed, unlike anything else we've ever seen. Just like the vehicles feel as though they're falling apart and unable to handle the crazy velocities that they're moving at. And just like the racers themselves, like during that first big race, we see that JP is like fucking bleeding because of how fast they're moving. It's kick-ass.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of figured the main character would be up your alley, Nico. He definitely seems like he's like the guy from No More Heroes or whatever. He kind of gives me that vibe.
He's like the Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes. He's just space dandy as well. Fantastic archetype of character. I fucking love it.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a very visually appealing anime. I enjoyed it a lot. This was
You like the visuals?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was expecting to hate the art style.
It took a minute for me to get used to it. It did. And what's funny is because I was like, okay, so there's a Redline live action movie, there's this Redline, and as we can say, there is no correlation between the two movies. The same could have been said for Metropolis, that 1920 film, and then the fucking anime Metropolis, and the director saying he had no clue that the other film existed. Alas, they were pretty similar. But like this movie just it's so engaging, it's pretty fast paced, which is nice, and it helps with the engagement. I like how, for the most part, the universe is pretty self-contained. There are a lot of things in this where it's like, alright, well, what is this? What is that? What does that mean? What does this do? And there's just a lot of loose ends they leave that they don't ever come back to. Like, there's that one portion there at the end where it's the fucking, what was the baby thing called?
Funky Boy.
Yeah, Funky Boy. Interesting concept. Interesting addition to the movie. There for no reason, seemingly. There's other plot things going on here, and then randomly one of the other military dudes fuses with something that we're going to assume is of the same caliber and fights it. And then we just never get back to it. And I understand, the main point of this movie...
the plot itself is entirely inconsequential. It just mainly serves as a vehicle to facilitate, like, the awesome moments and set pieces that we see throughout it.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, but I agree. It has nothing to do with the plot, and some people, you can just look past that. It's no big deal. I am of the ilk that if you're gonna throw something into a movie, at least have something... I ended up asking Jackson, too. I was like, does this movie have, like, an anime, or is, like, there's something else? And he was like, no, this is, like, self-contained. Which, if it's gonna be self-contained, at least attempt to... maybe not explain everything, but don't just, like, leave loose ends hanging around. And that's kind of has to do with why my rating wasn't super high up there. But also, going back to the pacing, in some parts it was a little fast, and it was, it didn't make too much sense. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was a very enjoyable watch.
So, Jackson, why the fuck did you hate this movie?
I gave it a fucking A-, bro. I like this movie a lot. I think it's very fun. This, like you guys all have been alluding to, I'm a big plot guy. I like a nice draw with me, you guys should be pretty aware of that given my ranking of Super Broly. This movie has a plot. It's pretty nonsensical, but it's fun. I like the characters. They're all pretty well defined. All the action scenes are great. They do some really interesting things with the visuals that you guys said. This is a visually stunning movie, and that certainly is what's really selling it in the end. It's got a fun soundtrack too. I enjoy that. It's just a really fun, solid movie. There isn't a ton of depth to it. This is some shit that you kind of just put on and don't think too hard about. But like, it's a fun time. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take itself too seriously at all. Like you said, the characters, it's just a nice zany cast of characters here who feel right at home in some like F-Zero. Like, they're all very distinct from one another, and the personalities will shine through just so much in their character designs. You don't really get any substantial arcs with any of them, This isn't like, a super plot-focused film all that much. But at the same time, they're all so well characterized in their actions and personalities, so you immediately get what their deal is, and they even have these nice moments of humanity to them that make them feel very real, which I appreciate.
Dude, Nico, did you like the Captain Falcon debut and also the fucking... I don't know which character this would be, but the Beavis and Butthead Robin sidekick that he had?
Yeah. Literally, when they were on screen, I was like, this is just Beavis and Butthead in this film.
I was telling Jackson, I think it's a really cool concept to have this group of illicit racers and this just more... I'm not going to say morally, this government or, so whatever, like law, where they're like, you're not going to do this thing. And they're like, well, too bad, we want to do it anyway. But each individual member that's participating in the race, like you were explaining, has their niche things they do. Like, we see the bounty hunters, they go in and they mess with something on the ship. and then you got all these people that do their specialties without each other knowing to sabotage the race, but then when it all comes together at the final point of it actually happening, things play out the exact way they need it to happen, so the race can happen. And I thought that was a really cool concept. It's like, you know, like I said, you just have everybody specialize in what they do, so like some plot can happen. And it's not even convenience either. It's like we saw them do it, and we know it's gonna happen. So it was really cool to see.
Yeah. I agree with what you guys are saying. The characters are fun. They're very tropey, but also like that's appropriate for what this movie is.
They just lean into it so hard too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my big negatives. One is I think JP is just kind of a whatever protagonist. There's nothing behind those eyes. We'll say there's not a ton going on with him.
Yeah.
And the plot, like we've mentioned, very straightforward and whatever, but it is just meant to show you all these, visually stunning moments and whatever.
Do you guys think that they died at the end?
No.
No? Okay, they were just floating off into the sky on fire.
Yeah, I don't know. They absorbed the whatever the fuck they called that thing into themselves, and it let them fly around. I really liked the dictator guy, specifically because he has this really funny line to me where you go, what does he say? He says, like, they're gonna violate our airspace with technology that only exists in theory? Those vermin!
That was a pretty good line.
To me.
I was gonna say, I did think it was kind of silly how crash-proof JP was, and kind of just any character. I remember posing this question to Jackson. I was like, dude, if you could have the superpower just be crash-proof, no matter what happens, you just walk out of an accident, would you take it? And that's basically just JP. Like, after the first accident, he was just in many, many crashes, and he was just fine. Like, the time, like, his car flew off a ridge or, like, blew up or whatever, he was, like, falling, suspectingly to his death, and then he just lands in, like, a bed of flowers and survives without a scratch on him. And then, yeah, again, at the end, where their vehicle is, like, falling apart because of the steam light, and then, like, if the force was making him bleed at the beginning of the movie, and this force was way more powerful, and then they're just flying through the air at that speed, and, like, with no protection, like... I will say, the funnier bit at the end there is that, everybody was making fun of his pompadour and all that stuff in his hair. And then that's what ended up winning him the race at the very end. I thought that was very appropriate and very funny. I liked that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from that, I did think, despite the sort of straightforward plot and whatever, I do think it's a fun wrinkle holding the race on this planet that straight up just doesn't want them there, and they're going to kill the racers if they try to race there. Maybe a bit of a missed opportunity to not actually kill any of the racers.
I did think it was very bizarre that, like, especially after all that shit with Funky Boy happened, that just, like, nobody was dead.
Yeah. I mean, plenty of the fucking soldiers were, but... Yeah, a bit weird, but, yeah. And then also just, like, that moment of the fucking Redline ship teleporting into the planet and then raising out to be the end line. Very funny and very cool.
Kick-ass, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I feel like some of the riders died during the race. I think it was just like well, actually, no, I guess they all were.
They didn't draw attention to it in any way.
I'm trying to think of who I think the two girls were there. The Captain Falcon guy, I think, was there. The police guy, who definitely should have been dead, I think was still there.
Yeah, he was still alive.
Yeah, maybe I guess nobody died then.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see a problem in that personally, but...
Yeah, I find it to be whatever. But yeah, I think that's about all I have for it. Oh, I was going to say, fun fact, I watched this movie twice this week.
Whoa.
I was so fucking jazzed about it that I literally was like, you know what? I just want to put it on again.
Okay.
That's very fair. It's a very easily digestible film, so...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, massive fan, ridiculously fun, just had a really great time with it. We didn't really touch on the art style that much either, we just said it was good, but yeah, very nice, thick and sharp line work combined with the really grungy stylized characters. Gave it a great look, akin to something like Jet Set Radio, or like Lethal League as well. It's just some of that good old-fashioned hand-drawn soul.
Yeah, I like how it's a bit varied between different alien species as well.
They look kick-ass.
Yeah. And the fact that they were still able to get that frame-for-frame animation style is really nice. Especially knowing now that it's hand-drawn, that shit's crazy. Like, I can appreciate that a lot about this movie.
It's not any of that fucking slop we get nowadays, Jesus Christ. Just this plastic-ass, generic anime art style for every fucking film.
Oh, dude, I just remember another joke I thought was really funny was when Sonichi was watching her little interview. And she goes, nice shot of my ass, guys. And then she plops into frame and she's topless.
Yeah.
It's a solid joke.
I was telling Jackson at that moment, I was like, man, I thought she was going to step out of that bathroom naked, but I'm glad they just didn't go for that route. And literally immediately after I said that, she fucking plops down naked. I was like, well, there goes that sanctity, I suppose. Oh, well.
Yeah.
This film has a lot of personality. I can appreciate that.
Oh, it sure does.
It really does, yeah.
I think that's all I've got to say about it then.
Same here.
Yes, fam. I'm sticking at my A-.
I'm going to stick with my A.
I'm chilling with my S-.
I'm sticking with my S- as well.
And it lands at a solid A+ overall.
Wow.
Very
Nice.
appropriate.
And of course, speaking of movies that will have obviously land at A+, we've got Dylan's pick of the week, that being the 2004 film White Chicks.
Boy, Jackson, I hope you're right. All right, White Chicks is a movie about the Wayans brothers, and they are FBI agents, and they're like disguise professionals or whatever, and they're trying to crack a case, and then they get suspended, and then they get assigned to the twin sisters, and then they fuck that up, and then they disguise themselves as them, and they use that as a way to uncover the case that they have no business doing. They uncover it, and everything works out in the end.
Fun fact, Terry Crews shot the 1,000 miles scene in one take.
He just knew it by heart already.
He actually was in real life a big fan of that song and did know it by heart.
Dude, that's great. I love that shit.
That's very funny.
So you guys think this movie's bad, right?
Am sitting at a flat B.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Nico?
I'm going to C+.
Okay, that's about what I was expecting. Jackson?
I'm just at a flat C right now.
God damn. Yeah, the nostalgia hit me hard on this movie. I fucking love this movie. I gave it an A-.
Okay. Guys, I thought the movie was funny.
Yeah.
What's kind of fucked up is I also am a little annoyed that I thought this movie was funnier than I expected it to
Don't
be.
be annoyed,
given the concept.
dude. If it made you laugh, then...
The concept is just so ridiculous. Mostly it's just like, I mean, this is what they're going for, but it really is just like the absurdity of the situations.
Yeah.
And that sometimes worked on me.
And you know what? I'm not gonna have too much to say, I don't think. I don't know if I'll be able to defend this movie pretty well, but I came into this review expecting what you guys were gonna complain about, and I want to see if I'm right, so I'm just gonna sit here and listen to see what you guys have to say and see how accurate I was in my prediction.
This film was racist and transphobic, and quite frankly, I just don't think that this would be made nowadays. We've evolved past it.
I think it probably still could be made nowadays just because it's mostly making fun of white people. Anyway.
Oh, no.
My biggest complaint with this movie is I thought it was a tad too long.
Too long, huh?
The humor can be hit or miss for me. Generally speaking, it worked. Sort of an interesting compliment I want to give this movie is that what I found interesting is that it feels like it more so comments about the differences between men and women than doing any sort of race commentary, which I actually kind of appreciated and I thought actually kind of worked for me.
I made kind of realize maybe I should say I love you to my girlfriend every day. She might like that.
I do. She doesn't say it back.
Oh.
She says I appreciate it.
God damn.
Thanks, pal.
Ooh. Nico, Jackson, what kind of hateful comments do you guys have to say about this movie?
I've got nothing to say about this fucking movie other than that the masks are horrifying.
Oh yeah.
it's like some waxwork shit with the guys stuck in the fucking models for me. Yeah, I really have like basically nothing to say about this movie. The fucking wrap up is kind of whatever. The fucking wife subplot, don't care. The fucking guy, I don't give a shit, honestly. You know, it had some fun parts. The concept is silly. But, you know, it's just a comedy.
Nico?
Yeah, I had basically nothing to say about this film. I was looking at my notes for the other films. I was like, man, I can talk about Redline this week, and that's about it. I really walked away with no thoughts on the other two films. You know, I thought that when he was in the house of Terry Crews, I don't know why the fuck that woman didn't leave immediately. He was just throwing up red signs left and right, and she was still ready to sleep with him. That probably says something about rich men, but whatever. And then I also thought the joke in there, though, when she saw the big old picture of Terry Crews basically naked, that was pretty funny. I liked that part. It made me chuckle.
Yeah, like I said, I have hardly any defense about this movie. I think it's silly. I think it's a fun time to watch. I am just, you know, it's one of those movies I watched growing up as a child. Usually just a family movie. I think it's universally enjoyable for the most part. I have 1,000 Miles stuck in my head now, and I think Tanner's singing it or something right now.
No, for some reason I was singing The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance just now.
There you go. When are you picking them for your fucking album review?
There we go.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think the acting's pretty good. Like, I like the Wayans brothers' performances. When they're in a movie, you know you're gonna have a fun time. Well, at least I know I'm gonna have a fun time. I think.
What other movies are they in?
I found out they're in one of the Scary movies. I'd have to go and look. Because usually when one of them's in it, it's usually both of them. It's hardly ever one of them in a movie. But yeah, what can I say? I just enjoyed this movie. I watched it with, I think, you and Jax. Nico, were you there when we watched White Chicks? Yeah, you guys knew. You guys could probably tell from watching with me. I was chuckling along. I wasn't busting a gut, mind you, but I was.
You were laughing a good deal.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie for no reason. I just think it's a good time. But yeah, I agree with Tanner. I like the I almost said subtle messaging of relationships between men and women. But I do think that's an interesting concept that they decide to include that has no right to be in this FBI undercover agent movie. But yeah, for whatever reason works. So, yeah.
Well, fantastic, boys. So are we sticking with our original ranks for it?
Oh yeah. I can't change.
Yeah, I'll be sticking with my B.
Yeah,
I can't change my ranks twice in a week. What am I, insane?
Yes, you can.
I'm not going to.
Oh, okay, well, it lands at a B- then.
Sounds about right.
It makes sense for it. Which means, Tanner, it's your and my turn to pick films this week. I'm gonna go straight into it. I ain't letting you say a gosh dang word here first. I'm gonna be picking Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Dude, I've heard of that one.
Wow.
I haven't.
I'm sure none of you expected this in the slightest, but the next movie as part of the new theme is The Hunger Games.
What?
Holy shit, I think I know what the theme is.
What's funny is I thought you were going for a different theme.
Uh-oh.
He was wrong. I remember you saying if I'm wrong, I'd be fucking cooked.
No,
Jackson
because I
fucking
remember
fumbled it.
I remember Tanner and I talking about fucking, like, watching those videos of, like, Tarantino's movies he wanted to pick or something, and Battle Royale came up so often, right? So I just assumed it was, like, movies that Tarantino really likes was going to be the fucking thing.
To be fair, that would be a much harder theme to guess.
And I thought that was your plan, so that I would fucking get that shit.
Gotcha, yeah. I was giving you a layup. Unfortunately not. I'm sure this is still very difficult for you to figure out what the theme is.
I'm not really putting the pieces together on this one.
I have a pretty good understanding, I think, hopefully.
Anywho, those are some fantastic movies. This week's Patreon pick is, of course, the 2007 film There Will Be Blood, as requested by Tutbod. Thank you for the request.
Holy smokes.
Whoa.
You know, this might be a pretty solid week, it's looking like.
Yeah.
I'm excited personally, and if you too would like to pick a film just like our wonderful patron Tutbot did, then you can head on over to the Patreon where Dylan's going to tell you we can do that.
Okay. So, for $1 a month, you get access to our Discord, which allows you to suggest topics and movies, just like Tutbot did. And it also gets you early access to the podcast whenever it goes up. It also gets you access to our pre-guap, the show that goes on before the show. That's where you get the juicy details, see? And that's where you get your real money's worth, in my opinion. You also get 500 slime coins for the bot, because I know somebody forgot to mention that. I'm not going to name names, but come on, guys. We got to remember the slime bot. And you get your name read out at the end of every episode, just like okay. GH, Slayed by J, Blake, Netagant, I Love Lesbians, Top Ramen Man, Inflated Labia, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. Thank you all so much for giving us $1.
That's right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. We'll be seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.